Hello everyone, welcome back to SBR Pythons. Today we've got a video that's kind of been in the works for quite a few months, to be honest. You remember quite a few months ago, I think it must have been 2 or 3 by now. I was going to do a collaboration video with Adam at TA Exotics, and unfortunately he had to leave the hobby. Well, today we've finally got round to coming together and putting a video for not only SBR Pythons channel, but TA Exotics channel. And we're really excited to be getting it across to you guys. So if you haven't, I'm not sure which one's going to be going up first, but make sure you go and check out Adam's video. I talked a little bit about what the community means to me, people I look up to, and different things sort of, as I say, a little bit more in-depth into me, again, just for his viewers. So if you guys are interested in hearing any of that again, or there are some new stuff on that, so go and check that out on Adam's channel. But on this channel, what we're going to do is talk a little bit about building up a collection / rebuilding a collection. And Adam's going to talk a little bit about some of his projects in terms of short-term and long-term, since sort of re-entering the sort of the passion, not the passion, the hobby. Sorry, my words aren't coming out at all today. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about how I've built my collection. I've sort of highlighted this before. So it's just as simple as sort of had an epiphany in 2013, as I said, when it comes to the hobby, in terms of realizing this is what I really have a passion for. And then in 2018 is when it really picked up again. So not again, but I had some animals, but that's when I got my first pied. And as I said, it was like something clicked in my brain. It was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is what I love. I always knew I loved the pied, but as soon as I got that pied and that banana het pied, I thought, yep, this is exactly what I want to be working with. Let's try and make those visuals. Let's try and get those codoms involved. And then from there, I went through the recessive route and I got the double recessive projects and got more genes involved in my codom. And that's sort of how I've built my collection. I've mentioned before, building the collection is absolutely crucial in how you're going to sort of succeed off the bat in terms of the hobby. So again, not being negative, but in terms of making sure you don't do that bulk purchasing and bulk buying just because it's pretty or it's cheap and things like that. Just go for what you really have a passion for. So if you see, I'm just giving an example to someone who might be entering the hobby. If you see a clown or an albino or a pied or even something simple and you see a banana ball python and you think that's incredible, stick to that, focus on one to begin with. Say, for example, banana. If you think banana is absolutely incredible, which it is, and then you see a spider banana and you can see how the pattern and the color interact together and you go, right, I want to produce that spider banana. Make sure you do that. And then while you're building that sort of foundation to build that or make that banana spider yourself, you'll start to realize what it is you're really passionate about. Is it the spider? Is it the banana? Is it something else that you've seen in the meantime? And just focus on that. So for example, maybe focus on the banana or focus on the spider or focus on a enchi now that you found that enchi exists or something like that. Stick to something and make that succeed. And as you're doing it, other things will fall into place, if that makes sense. That's the best way I can describe of sort of hitting the ground running and trying to build a collection straight off of the bat, in my opinion. But now I'm going to pass you over to Adam, who's going to talk a little bit about rebuilding the collection. So a little bit of backstory for those of you that don't know. Adam unfortunately had to leave the hobby, but was back almost instantly because thankfully Darren Hughes down at Neighbours Constrictors managed to sort of talk to Adam and figure out the electrics, and he managed to get back into the hobby. I'm not sure, he might go into more depth for you guys, but that's sort of a little bit of a rundown on it. So obviously, because he thought he was leaving the hobby, he sold the majority of his racks, the majority of his animals, and he sort of, once he realised he didn't actually have to leave, was kind of in a situation of, I've kind of sold my projects, and he sort of had that moment of realisation of, well, now I've actually got to rebuild. And from what I've seen of Adam and what he's going to tell you, you can see how rebuilding it sort of can be a positive, and you can just sort of, as I said, Adam's going to go into it a little bit more detail, because obviously I've never had a rebuild. So yeah, Adam's going to do that. And then, seeing as this is on the topic of rebuilding animals and getting animals, talk a little bit about some of his long-term and sort of short-term projects, I hope. And he can just sort of go through them with you guys as well, in terms of how he's come about sort of picking up animals for this rebuild, based on what he's sort of planning on doing. So yeah, I'll leave you guys with Adam. Over to you, Adam.
Hey guys, what's going on? Adam from TA Exotics. Welcome to Matt's channel. Thank you, Matt, for having me on your channel. I really do appreciate it, buddy. And I know we're going to do something for my channel very, very soon. I know we were supposed to do it quite a while ago, but obviously things got in the way and we weren't able to do it, but hopefully soon we can do that. So today, guys, I'm going to talk about what it's like to start from scratch, what it's like to in my case, I come out of the hobby and come back in, come out of it, come back in. So what's that really like? What's it like mentally? What's it like financially? Now, big implications in both of those areas. Now, I don't know if you do know, but if you do follow me, guys, then you'll know that quite a while ago. Well, backstory first. I mean, I've been breeding ball pythons for well over 10 years. And back in the day, 10 years ago, I had quite high-end snakes. I had an amazing brick built outhouse for my snakes to live in. I had amazing expensive racks, and I invested a lot of money into it. I had an issue with a Burmese python and my youngest daughter. I won't go into too many details, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you want to contact me privately. But basically it meant that I was coming out of the hobby. I didn't want anything to do with snakes anymore. Although ball pythons, rural pythons are a different species, I couldn't see myself caring for snakes anymore. So I made the decision to sell everything, sell all the equipment, sell all the snakes, and I wanted a really quick sale. And I actually sold maybe in excess of £15,000 worth of snake and equipment in one day for £4,000, about £4,000. Exactly, someone got a right bargain. But that's how desperate I was to get out of it, because I had to for personal reasons. So a few years went by, and I found myself starting to miss it, starting to miss the interaction with them, starting to miss cleaning them, believe it or not, starting to miss pairing them, breeding them, feeding them, and just looking at them. I spend a lot of time in my room, as does a lot of people, just looking at their animals. I missed that. So I asked my wife if I could get back into it again, and after a lot of hesitation she said I could have one as a pet, not to breed, but just one. I thought, great, I didn't need to breed again, I didn't need to do anything like that, just having one to care for, having one to feed, having one to take pictures of, that's all I wanted. But as you know, with ball pythons, 1 turns into 3 and 3 turns into 12 and so on and so forth. And very quickly I found myself with another collection. Now what I done is, the Freedom Breeder rack I've got, and I'll show you that in a second. I saw that advertised, and it's 10 tubs high, and it actually came with 10 females, 10 adult females. So I thought, brilliant. They weren't the best of genetics. It was a lot of, there's some normals in there, some spiders, some pastels, some fire, pinstripe, that sort of thing. A lot of them I still got now, but I got the rack and the animals for a really good price. So I thought, that's my key, that's my way back in. Instead of buying hatchlings and waiting for them to grow, I've got adults there, and they're going to be ready to breed the following season for when I bought them. I thought, fantastic. But then we decided to move, and we decided to move from the London area all the way down to the West Sussex coast, which was the best choice I've ever made. So I then had to move all the snakes to the new location. So they temporarily went into my garage, only for maybe a week or two, while I got this sorted out. And I've done a video on my channel telling you all about the cost and things involved and what I had to do. But I got that sort of done pretty soon after moving. So all the animals came into here, and it worked great for over a year. Over a year, I had I had the racks, I had hatching racks, I had vivariums. If you remember Venom the Tegu I've had chameleons in here, I've had all sorts, absolutely no problems at all. And then one day, poof, power went out, and I couldn't work out what it was. We spent a lot of time testing for individual plugs, for fuses, individual thermostats. Nothing seemed to be showing a problem. The house was out, the power was out in the house as well as in the cabin. Everything was total darkness. So we decided to call an electrician, and the electrician came, and he basically said, I think you're overloaded, which we thought was strange, because the RCD in this room is like a 64 amp, I think it is, and when you add up all the amps in the snake room, and if you don't know, a lot of heat map plugs are actually only 3 amps, not 13 amps. So when you added all that up, it was still under the 64 amp RCD, so it's strange. So I was giving up again, and the reason I decided to give up again is because my collection was already small, and I thought, if I had to cut down at that point, what will I have left? What will I have left? Nothing. As you guys know, I do YouTube, I do Instagram. If I had to give away half the snakes I had, I wouldn't have anything to show on YouTube. I wouldn't have anything to show on Instagram. So I thought, well, what's the point? You know, I like sharing things. I like people seeing. I like engaging with people. And it made it really hard. So I decided to come out of the hobby and concentrate on my birds of prey, who, you know, what I used to have before I had snakes. I thought, you know, as sad as it is, there was something that, you know, a silver lining. I could still work with birds. I do apologise, Matt, if you can hear the children in the background. As you know, it's a really hot day, so they're out in the garden, so please do apologise if you hear kids screaming. So yeah, I decided to pack it in. So all my good stuff, all the good animals, the, you know, the clown stuff and whatever, went out the door really quickly. Obviously, they were bought really quick. Turns out I was probably a week premature with letting them go, because a week later, and a massive shout out to Darren Hughes over at Neighbours and Stritzers, because he, one, talked some sense into me, and two, made things clear, explained it a bit better. You know, it made me understand more. So what I decided to do was not come out of the hobby, cut down, but change out my animals. You know, invest in some quality genes. As you guys know, if you do follow me, you know, I've picked up a few recently, a few pieds. I've got a leopard pied, a Woma pied, a lion pied, which is obviously the pinstripe leopard pied, a pastel butter clown. Majority of all these coming from Darren over at Neighbours and Stritzers, bar the Woma pied, which come from Eddie over at Sunby Serpents. And I've got an Inchy clown coming. So I thought to myself, you know, have a smaller collection, but more powerful animals. And that sort of made sense, because I can still do my YouTube, I can still do Instagram, and people will still be interested because they're not seeing 1 gene, 2 gene animals. They're still seeing the stuff they want to see. So I decided to stay in. But I did have to get rid of a few racks and a few enclosures that I didn't need, like the chameleon that was just there. You know, that's gone, because that's 2 plugs I didn't need to use, because I didn't need the chameleon. It was more of a novelty thing. It was supposed to be going into my daughter's room. Long story, it never did. So everything like it was gone. What I'm doing now to save more power, but to maximise what I can work with, all the racks that I've got are going, and at the moment that runs on 26 plugs. So all in, you know, the extensions and 26 heat mats. So I'm changing racks. So basically I'm getting more tubs than I've got, and I'm going from 26 tubs down to 11. I think it's 11, 12, 13, that sort of amount. So we're more than halving the power that I'm going to be using, but maximising more tubs, so I can get more animals, but not use more power, if that makes sense. So yeah, ultimately it was a premature decision to sell a lot of my animals, because I'm absolutely gutted about some of the animals that I let go. But that's where we are. It allowed me to use that money, put back into the hobby, and buy those awesome animals that you've seen on my channel. So, you know, it was a lot mentally, it was a lot financially, and a lot physically, because obviously we've got to physically change out the room and make it different to suit the problem I had with the electric. Yes, we can sort the electrics out, but that's a bigger cost and more trouble than it's worth. So this is the route I'm taking. And this is the route that I've chosen, so it's the route I've got to follow. But yeah, you know, anyone that's got to start from scratch, you know, through no fault of their own, or even if you're starting up brand new into the hobby, plan ahead as best you can. Know what you want to work with, know how many animals you want, know what your limit of animals are. You know, if you can only house 30 animals, make your housing for 30 animals. You know, you don't need to make it for 60 animals and have all that heating going, and when you don't need it, and extra power and things like that. So really think out your goals. If you've got a room like this, or if you've got a bedroom, work out what you can have so there's no nasty surprises along the way. Because having to leave, or thinking you're having to leave a hobby that you adore so much is really, really, really hard. I really, really cried during that period. I was really heartbroken. I was so upset, inconsolable on the night it happened. Which is, you know, I'm a big boy, and you know, big boys cry as well. But I was really upset, and I wouldn't want anyone else to go through that without, you know, just cause, if that makes sense. So Matt, I hope that answered your question of what it's like to start from scratch. I'm sure if your viewers have got any other questions, they can reach out to you or reach out to me directly. That's absolutely fine. As you know, I'm transparent and as honest as they come, or I like to think I am. I'll answer any question within reason that you guys ask me. So the second part of this video is I'm going to show you a couple of projects that I'm really looking forward to. And bear in mind, guys, these aren't amazing genes because obviously, from like I just explained, some animals went when I decided I was coming out the hobby. But I'll show you a couple. I've got 2 clutches in the incubator at the moment, and I'll show you what the parents were for them and hopefully tell you what I will get. So let's check those out now. So the first female is just a cinnamon girl. She's nothing special. Well, she's special to me, but genetically wise, just a cinny girl. She was actually bred, I think she laid 7 eggs actually, last week, or about 10 days ago now. She was bred to, I'll show you, he's one of my favourite males. He's already down here. There he is. He was bred to this boy, which is a black pastel coral glow vanilla. So originally I was shooting for the 8 ball, but how cool would it be to get coral glow and vanilla into the 8 ball? So that would be a black pastel cinnamon coral glow vanilla. Wow, that'd be awesome. Just getting cinnamon into that animal, I think would look really cool. So I'm really looking forward to the results in that clutch, and of course I'll update you on my channel. The other one that has laid, again, nothing special, guys, just this big old pastel butter female, and she was bred to the pastel calico. Now you know that I love my calico stuff, some really funky calicos that I produce, and she was bred to this boy here. Let's see if we can get a better shot of him. Sorry mate. So it's really nice pastel calico, nice high whites. So I'm really looking forward to, or hoping to produce, some super pastel butter calicos. I think that would look awesome. Really bright snakes I think there'd be. So that's what I'm excited for. This male here, he's in a big poo, excuse the mess. This is a banana firebeat, and he's gone to a couple of females just to produce some more banana stuff, hopefully whole back stuff. This leopard firefly, who's soaking in his bowl because it's obviously a warm day. He was also bred to a couple of females. Leopard is my favourite gene, so anything leopard, even if it's just normal leopards, I'm happy. This girl here, it's just a fire, and she is nearing her ovulation. She was bred to the lesser, no, let me think about it, the pastel lesser clown male before he was snapped up. So I haven't bred anything else to her because I'm hoping for some female holdbacks that will all be obviously 100% het clown. Some firefly clowns would be nice, het clowns would be nice. So that's what I was shooting for there. Obviously lots of different possibilities. This girl here, just a pastel girl, again nothing too crazy. And yes, she is in her full swing of ovulation. Really girthy around here. She was bred to the leopard firefly, I believe. If you follow me on Instagram, guys, I'm trying to show her tail suck because she's got really cool tail suck. Maybe you can see there, going all the way down. I won't bother her too much, sorry darling. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I created this really funky pastel leopard, and that was the pairing, so I'm going to try and recreate that again. And that's about it, guys. There's nothing, I mean there's other snakes going, but it's all single gene stuff. It's nothing special whatsoever. But it's like I said, this is from working, from the ground back up again with lower genes. There's no shame in it. Don't be embarrassed if you're doing it. I'm certainly not. There's no race. I've said it 100 times. What will be will be. It's a nice bumblebee girl there again. She's had her ovulation or just coming out of her ovulation. So there we go, guys. That's pretty much what I'm working with at the moment. So guys, there we go. That's just a quick sort of my experience of having to start from scratch and showing you a couple of the animals that I'm working with. Obviously next season will be better, and the season after that will be better, and the season after that will be fantastic. hopefully. So guys, thanks for checking into Matt's video, watching this collaboration. It was really fun to do. Hopefully I'll have Matt on my channel very, very soon. But that's all from me. So thank you, Matt, for having me on the channel once again. Don't forget to comment to Matt's channel. I'm sure his information will be in the description down below. Stay safe, guys, and I'll see you very, very soon.
So there we go. Thank you very much for jumping on the channel and doing that, Adam. A little bit of insight for you guys, as I said, on just a little bit of how he's rebuilt his collection, some of his plans and things like that. It's incredible to hear about sort of having a rebuild, because as I say, I've never been through it, and hopefully I never will go through it. So it's interesting to see and hear that sort of side of the hobby, which isn't so common. And, you know, the way in which Adam's doing it, I think, is perfect, to be fair. You know, he's outlined his projects that he wants, as I've said, is so crucial. And in terms of, I know for a fact, you know, getting, or as you've just seen or heard, getting those visuals, you know. I know he got that butter pastel clown and the Womapide and things like that to try and sort of build those foundations on the rebuild, which is fantastic. All the credit in the world to you, Adam. But yeah, that's just a short video, as I say, a little collaboration that we've been trying to make work since sort of the previous time he was going to do it. And we've finally got round to sort of doing it with everything that's going on in the world, and you know, we've got a little bit of free time. So I do hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I'll catch you next week. Make sure you go and check out the video on Adam's channel as well. As I say, where I just talk a little bit about the hobby in a little bit more detail. And yeah, leave a like, turn the notification bell on, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers, guys.